Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I think we had a great debate. I'm going to repeat my request, if you can. I think that we covered some really serious topics, and I'm so glad I was able to attend tonight and participate. But there's one thing pretty clear to me. If you want to change our healthcare system and you want to have a family doctor, then we need to change the government. So at this time, I'm appealing to all NDP supporters. If you voted NDP before, I want you to vote Ontario Liberal. In that way, we can vote together, we can change the government, and we can get everyone a family doctor within the next 4 years. Together, we can do this.
Why go with this strategy, though? Like, why appeal to NDP voters?
I'm appealing to all Ontarians. I think we had a very successful night, and I think Ontarians really benefited from hearing all of our views. And sorry if I was a little bit feisty. I get a little bit worked up, and I just want to push back. And whoops.
Bonnie, you brought up Doug Ford's upbringing. You said he was raised privileged. How come you did that?
Because I don't think he understands the plight of real Ontarians. I really don't. I think he sits at a very privileged perch. You know, he was raised in a big political dynasty. He didn't have to work for anything. He was given a company to run. I mean, like the rest of Ontarians, I had to work hard for everything I have earned and everything that I have achieved. I don't think he understands the plight of real Ontarians, and I don't think he understands how people are hurting under him, and how his policies have hurt them, life for them isn't affordable under his government, that they don't have a family doctor, and their classrooms are overcrowded and our schools are crumbling. It's so important to invest in our healthcare system to protect it. And let me repeat what I had said earlier. Doug Ford doesn't care about our healthcare system. He doesn't care, he doesn't want a strong public healthcare system because he wants private medicine. And for me, that's one of the things that I'm so proud of about being Canadian. For me, our strong public healthcare system is equivalent to my pride in Canada, and he's trying to dismantle it.
The NDP is radical and obsessed with fringe wars. Do you still feel that way as you're asking their voters to vote for you?
You know, the NDP are all about high spending. They think money grows on trees. Honestly, they're promising everything to everyone, and you just can't do that. I have the discipline of having been a mayor and running a very large city, and I know how to balance a budget. I've never been able to run a deficit. And I've had 10 successful budgets where we didn't run a deficit. And I think that's so vitally critical. And I think that's the difference between me and the NDP leader.
Bonnie, you've had a couple of controversies with your candidates, including comments about violence against women. Like, shouldn't the bar be higher than that? And how do you feel about that as a leader and also as a woman?
You know, I'm not here to talk about statements that candidates made 10 years ago that I know they regret and they have apologized for. I'm here to fix our healthcare system. You know, I'm sure Doug Ford regrets things he's said, probably even very recently.
These are your candidates. Are you okay with what they said?
I've got to be honest with you. I have been focused entirely on the debate. I'm not thinking about what candidates said 10 or 20 years ago in their youth. If they have apologized for those statements, one of them told me it doesn't reflect who he is today, that he's been reborn and he fights every single day to make his daughter's life better. So I'm not focused on what candidates said in the past.
The centre has not apologized, so what about that?
You know what? I've been entirely focused on this debate, and that's a matter I'm going to look into.
Bonnie, these are your candidates.
Those comments that was actually made last year. One of your candidates said, quote, ask your gay friend Justin Trudeau to do the same. That was last year, not 10 years, not 20 years ago.
I haven't seen the context of that. I'm going to be reaching out to that candidate and anyone and any other group that's reached out to me to discuss it.
Under what context would a candidate calling the Prime Minister your gay friend, under what context
obviously it's a very
would that be
inappropriate comment, and I'd like to learn more about it. I'm going to tell you again, I've been entirely focused on preparing for this debate. I have not had a lot of contact with social media and what our outside team has been saying.
Bonnie,
I want to.
These are your candidates. They're carrying the Ontario Liberal Party banner. There's clearly a pattern here. In the last week, you've had, what, 5, 6 candidates with these comments unsurfaced? Did you vet these candidates? You scrambled to get 124? How do you vet them?
We vetted our candidates, and, you know, we've got a war machine on the other side that is digging into every old tweet. I'm not worried about old tweets that are 10 years old. I'm worried about today and fixing our healthcare system and ensuring that the 2.5 million people who don't have a family doctor will have one in the next 4 years. That's my commitment to them. My commitment is also to cut their taxes and to make their life more affordable, because their life isn't affordable under Doug Ford, and that's what I'm focused on.
Happy with the vetting process, though, or would you like to have done something differently?
Look, I'm focused on getting people a family doctor. That's it right now.
So Bonnie, related to that, during the debate, Marit Stiles brought up how you have accepted nearly $24,000 in donations from people who basically work within sort of the private side of healthcare. What does that actually, you didn't respond to it during the debate, what does that actually say about your party's connections to privatization in healthcare?
Yeah, it says that we accept donations from everyone who is able to donate. We follow the rules to a T, and that all kinds of people in different industries have donated to us, and I'm sure that leader is just a little bit envious that we raised enough money to run ads on the Super Bowl.
Do you like the idea, though, of more privatization within healthcare?
I'm focused for a strong, publicly funded healthcare system. A strong, publicly funded healthcare system. That's my pledge. That's my commitment. Quite frankly. Well, there is some private delivery that exists today, and I'm going to take a better look at it. Is it well regulated? Are they inspected? Do they have the same standards that we have in the public system? Let's put the right criteria in place.
You're also running for your own riding. You're also running for your own seat this election. How are you feeling about that? Are you feeling confident that you're going to win your own seat this time?
Oh, I am absolutely going to win my own seat. I've been in my riding. My son is there every day. I've got an incredible team there. Absolutely. I'm quite confident all the ridings in Mississauga.
Mr. Ford mentioned
a lot about special education so far this campaign.
Yeah.
Considering we've had a student die this year, are you looking at any kind of provincial standards? Will that be
Thank you. Thank you for that question, and that is such a tragedy, and my sincere condolences to the family. That's the last thing anyone wants, is a child hurt, and particularly while they're at schools. We need to invest more in our education system. That's the reality. We need to hire more teachers. We need to pay them better. We need to fund our education system, and we need to hire more special education teachers. There's no question about it. We need spec ed teachers in our classrooms to help our children who have special needs. So yes, we will fund education properly.
Mr. Ford mentioned Carolyn Parrish on my count 3 times, the mayor of Mississauga. Why did he do that? And is there some sort of past history that's making him want you to take a bait here?
I'm not really entirely sure. What I do know is that he heaped praise on me and my record when I was mayor. He often praised my record as bringing investment into our city and creating jobs and setting the city up for growth. I followed in the path of Hazel McCallion. It's what made her successful, and it generated a lot of wealth and income and prosperity for the city of Mississauga. So that was my #1 goal, to continue to bring investment into our city. And we have one of the highest business assessments right across the province. In fact, we may be the 3rd largest city in the province, maybe 4th by numbers, but the 2nd largest economy because of the strength of the businesses. There are over 100,000 businesses in Mississauga, 75 multinationals and there are 100,000 businesses, 75 are Fortune 500s and 1,200 multinationals.
Bonnie, what's the bar for you to stay on as leader? It's been 3 weeks. The polls are stagnant. You're bouncing between 2nd and 3rd in daily trackers. And so I'm wondering, do you have to win your seat to stay on as leader? Is it official party status? Have you contemplated that?
I don't know. You haven't been at the doors and hearing what I'm hearing. People are pretty angry at this election. They're angry at Doug Ford for calling an election so that he can run away from an RCMP investigation. That's what they see. They see him trying to protect his own job rather than their jobs. And, you know, polls only matter on election night, quite frankly. I think there's a lot of room, and you You look at one poll, it says one thing. You look at another poll, you just mentioned yourself, polls are saying different things. We don't look at the polls. We work hard. We have a platform that will attract Ontarians because they care. I said we're going to provide the basics because that's what's important to Ontarians and their families, to ensure that their life is affordable again and that they have a family doctor and that they're not waiting 20 hours at the hospital waiting to be seen by a doctor. You know, Doug Ford said he'd end hallway health care. He didn't get it done. He said he'd cut our taxes. He didn't get it done. And he said he'd build 1.5 million homes, and he didn't get that done either. You can't trust Doug Ford and what he promises.
Does that mean you stay on? Does that mean you stay on as leader if you're unable to get party status?
I mean, I'm not going to lose my seat, and we're not going to not lose party status. I'm quite certain of that.
He will work harder if he gets a larger mandate. What do you make of him tying his work ethic to the number of seats he gets?
Well, I wish he worked hard all the time. The reality is he has a supermajority. He can pass any legislation he wants to. He called this government because he saw it as an opportunity to run away from an RCMP investigation. He could be governing until June of 2026. This election is unnecessary and expensive, costing taxpayers $189 million.
But should a premier work harder if they have a larger seat count, or should that matter?
He should always work hard, not be at the cottage or wherever it is he goes. Thank you all.